It's been 20 years since Governor George Ryan captured national attention and angered some in his own party and out by suspending the death penalty in Illinois. He would go on to essentially clear death row by commuting sentences to life in prison.
It happened after a troubling trend that saw as many inmates exonerated as executed in Illinois. WGN's Ben Bradley spoke with the former governor, who's out with a new book about his evolution on capital punishment.
Most people really didn't care about the death penalty or what it did or how it worked, including me.
George Ryan's thinking changed when he became the guy throwing the proverbial switch, or in Illinois' case, authorizing a lethal injection.
I was sitting in the mansion one day with my wife one night after the heavy day at the office, in the governor's office, watching WGN News.
Oh man, it feels marvelous to be outside. I'm free. I'm out here.
Words of freedom from Anthony Porter, moments after his release from death row today.
And here comes this little guy out of prison with a big grin on his face, happy to be out of jail.
He was greeted by Northwestern University professor David Protes and his students, the people largely responsible for proving Porter's innocence and saving his life as part of their class project.
I said to my wife, how does that happen in America? Guy sits in jail for 17 years. How'd you like to wake up every morning for 17 years and say, maybe they're going to kill me today?
The statistics were stunning. 12 men executed, 13 men exonerated in Illinois since the return of the death penalty in the late 1970s.
As everybody said, in the end, the system works. We haven't executed anybody that's innocent. It's never been done. Well, I don't believe that it's never been done. I'm sure it's been done, but I never was able to prove it.
Do you think innocent people have been executed in Illinois?
I would hate to, I don't know that. I mean, I just got to guess. With all the errors in the system, there has to be some.
Ryan spent months meeting with death penalty opponents as well as the families of crime victims. They were on a collision course.
Let's take this a step at a time. What happened today was to say that Mr. Porter, in our view, and the judge agreed, should be out on an I bond while the investigation continues.
And there was a dark cloud hanging over the governor's deliberations, a scandal from his days as Secretary of State called licenses for bribes.
So all of these things are under investigation.
I remember at the time there was a lot of talk that, oh, maybe Governor Ryan is doing this to distract from his legal troubles.
That was always the message I got from a lot of people under the investigation, that I did it for a reason. I think I put a big X on my back as far as the prosecutors and the government was concerned. They sure didn't like what I did.
I no longer shall tinker with the machinery of death.
Ryan is convinced his opposition to the death penalty inspired prosecutors to throw the book at him. But Ryan's own book includes a foreword by author, lawyer, and capital punishment opponent Scott Turow that reads in part, "To get the unpleasantries out of the way, despite my affection for Governor Ryan, I believe the evidence supported his conviction on corruption charges."
I didn't want to have to leave office and say, well, they killed poor old whatever his name is, and now they found out he didn't do it. So I was very cautious about that.
Ryan talks about his time in prison.
It was an absolute waste of time. 7 years. They could have put me on the street, put me to do public service of some kind, raise money for needy organizations, anything. I know all too well that when many people hear my name, they think first of my trial, the conviction, and the prison term. Yes, I went to prison. It happened. I got through it, and I have moved on.
And writes about losing his wife while away.
I lost the love of my life, Laura Lynn, on June the 24th, 2011. I'd been allowed to visit her bedside for 2 hours in January 2011. It was extraordinarily difficult. She recognized me, but she struggled to be able to speak. That is above.
Ryan hopes he'll be remembered for his death penalty stance more than the scandal. A Republican governor instituting a moratorium on executions. It captured national attention.
To have a consistent, perfect death penalty system, I have concluded after looking at everything I've been given that that's impossible in our state.
Capital punishment was formally abolished in Illinois by Governor Quinn in 2011. 4 other states followed, bringing to 22 the number of states now without capital punishment.
I don't know if we changed a lot of minds, but I know several states now that have abolished the death penalty, and some people say it was my actions that started it, and the reason that those states at least looked at it and changed their mind about it.
The number of executions nationwide peaked in 1999, just as Governor Ryan prepared to institute a moratorium on the death penalty here in Illinois. 98 prisoners were put to death across America that year. The number has been steadily falling since, with 22 executions in the United States last year, 12 so far this year. Ben Bradley, WGN Investigates.